Hi, for today's teardown we have this, the Messplatz 1066 from the Labor for Electrophysik in Dresden, Dutch Democratic Republic. Yes, so this item has been sitting on eBay for years. I have been watching it for years, and finally I did strike a deal and got it from Poland, mainly because of the 7-segment displays here, which seems to be quite interesting. So it was a Russian roulette again, because I had no idea of what I could find inside. Only clues is a missing module here, and probably a big blank here, which is sadly the case. So we have here some kind of laboratory rack equipment from Eastern Germany, some flavor of rack, in fact, with plug-in modules. Everything is plug-in, so it is the frame probably that could be modified and adjusted for each specific need. And it seems it is for some kind of power monitoring or something like this. Not sure. Quite an obscure piece of equipment. So we have a big 20 kilos grey box with handles on the side, screws on the front, all the plug-in modules, and later we will have a look at the back. But first, close up on the front panel. So I did translate the German information we have here. Each time we have on these modules 4 LED displays and buttons or just displays. So this one is for the Zeit Vorgabe, excuse me for my terrible German by the way. It is some kind of time specification, and as you will see when I will power it on, yes, it will adjust some kind of a countdown here that will sometimes start automatically when I power it on. So it is to set the a delay, in fact. We will check it later. On the bottom, just the power supply with the main switch and LED. Some very old school East German LED also, by the way. Nice thumb screws here, we will see it also later. You can see the logo of the company. So I found no information on the web about this company, except that they made also oscilloscopes, and some of them are available on eBay. And they made a whole bunch of this kind of equipment, but very few information. The only things you will find actually are eBay ads for their products. So next module here is Fresold 0 to 200 newtons maybe, with a nice multi-turn potentiometer here with a locking mechanism. And also a time start maximum in milliseconds. And then the threshold apparently adjustment. Okay. Next module is for power surge in kilonewton by seconds. And total of power surge. Next one with no button also is for maximal surge apparently, something like this. Next one is for height in millimeters, and total height in millimeters. This module here we have test, single test, duration test, threshold surge, ready to go on the push button. Mystery missing module here, but apparently it had some inputs on the back, you will see later. And here we have a charge calibrator with some adjustments, some kind of signal or trace shape here, and one more of these adjustable things. A big blank panel for with empty space behind it. You can see here a little bit of the internal construction. So it is steel and aluminium, very heavy with captive nuts. Some insulating material here because probably we have a circuit board not far from here in the missing module. Okay, so it is all for the front side. Let's quickly check what we have at the back. So on the back we have a power input here with a very special plug which I do not have, so I did connect directly a mains cable in here. We have screw terminals here at the back, so it was easy. We have some coaxial input here and some multi-pin connector here. All these connectors are actually part of modules that will go at the same time. And we have here two coax, two benches for ready to go and goniometer. And it is all here missing input output. Apparently big panel. And it is all for the back side. Okay, now I will turn on the power. So mains is connected. For my safety I did ground the case because I have no ground on the power lead I did use. So what will happen, do you believe? Okay, as you can see it is turning on. Transformer a countdown here that it start by itself, and some random numbers on the other displays actually. That will be different if I cut the power. I believe it is because we have no inputs connected on the back, so it will grab any electrical noise and convert it to random data probably. It must be something like this. But I did notice if I move the button here, some things will increase, as you can see, like this. Quite weird. This is some kind of a reset, apparently, because if I do this, it is probably not the correct way to use it, by the way. And I press this, yes, it will reset. These settings here do not do anything in particular. Now a little bit of a close up on the LED displays because they are very nice, apparently. East German. I did say 7 segments, but actually no, there are a lot more than 7. I have 6, 10, I have 14 segments, but maybe some of them are connected together. So if I... So here the buttons, I believe I did previously manage, yes, to adjust here the numbers. So sometimes some display will not work correctly. I believe we have a few bad solder joints in here. Okay, but it is quite fun. So in real life it is redder than on camera. The camera will amplify the color and it is not that bright. Now it will count down. We will keep it count down to 0 to see what happens. Meanwhile, view at the other displays, which are the same with sometimes missing segments, as you can see. And the very, very old school tiny LED here. What a suspense. What will happen at the 0 of a countdown? So this item, as you will see inside, it is quite bold, has a few interesting East German parts, but the most interesting one are probably the LED displays. Apart from this, it is very heavy, mainly because of a giant transformer inside, and the whole steel construction. Sadly, it is missing a module, so I believe I will not keep this unit. I will scrap it, retrieve all the interesting components. Maybe try to keep one module in a working condition if I can figure out the power supply of it. Actually, I do not know if this countdown, I believe it receives the countdown from another card you will see inside, another PCB. So it might not work by itself, but a fun displays to look at least. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0, and we start again the countdown. Okay. A little bit of a close-up for you on the display, as far as I can go with my macro lens. Okay, you can see they are quite interesting. I will power it maybe another time with front plate removed. We will see better how they look like. Okay, now time to start to take it apart. We will extract the modules one at a time, then we'll be able to have a look at them with the overhead camera, and then I will remove the main rack frame from the box, and we will be able to look at the other things inside here. But first, power off and disconnect the mains cable. It will be safer for me. Okay, so about this kind of rack-ish modules, actually we have two big thumb screws that will also, they are captive, and when you undo them they will catch at some point and they will unmate the connector at the back, and then you are able to pull the whole module like this. So here is what one of them look like. You will see later the pass on it. So this one is a short one. We have no connector going to the back, just the connectors to the main frame. And by the way, the East German hardware looks like Home Depot hardware you will find. Well, the hardware you will find in any shop, regular screws with slotted screw, slotted it, nothing in particular. Quite interesting and quite weird. So I will quickly undo the other ones. So you get the idea. We don't do the special ones. This one has a back connector, so you can see the extenders here, and it will poke through the back all of the device with a super nice East German logo everywhere. We will check them. So I did not find any serial number on this thing, and about the date codes, it is not really easy also to find one. We will see later if I can find one. So the other modules are completely identical, but how they are constructed actually, you can see this front plate is just secured by two screws to the PCB. Or what I will do immediately is to show you the displays without the front panel. So it will be done, excuse me, I am out of the frame. So this one, for instance, I will remove the front panel, I will power the device again, and you will see what exactly the things the display look like without the red filter. Then it will be done for this, and I know for good I can remove the power lid. Actually I see some Soviet components, which is good because Soviet components mean the code. Okay, we will power on with this one without the cover and see what happens. Okay, you can see a little bit better the display now with this particular pin arrangement, and you can see they are mounted with on a PCB only for them. Okay, here is what they look like, but I did not find any model number. I believe it is on the back side. So very nice old school LED displays. Okay, let's continue. Okay, top row is almost empty. You can see the back of the frame with plug-in connectors. We have here one last module, which actually is not the same way constructed, because as you will see, this is quite how you do it. The front plate is totally loose, except for one the button here that will keep it in place. I will unzoom a little bit, and it will just come with one PCB. So here the front plate is totally loose, there is nothing, no provision to secure it in any way, and we are left with two extra PCBs here, like this, that will come off here and here. Quite interesting. Okay, bottom row, actually the power supply is a little bit the same kind of setup. Well, not this is the free power supply, because we have other power supply components in the back. So this is a completely loose plate this time, and it will uncover one kind of power supply module with power transistors from various companies from the communist countries. One more circuit board, which I believe is the timer generator board because of the crystals, and it is all. Here, as I did say before, a big blank panel. Nothing behind, so pretty serious aluminum plate, but nothing to see. And we are left with this last module, which is apparently something a little bit separate of the unit, as it has no interaction of on the displays, as far as I can see, and made a little bit differently, this one. Here we are. So this will need some further examination, because it is special. And there we are. The case is empty. We have a few more things to look at later in here, but nothing spectacular. Mostly a transformer, heat sinks, and the general metal work. Okay, now I will put the camera overhead and we will have a look at the modules one at a time. So, first module here, as I did show just before, the displays have their own circuit board, which is hardwired to the other board. And most of the modules have PCBs with unpopulated parts. So it looks like they are generic circuit boards, and they will make each one according to specifications and needs. So it is a standard PCB layout, and they will populate parts as needed to do what they want. You can see we have 4 displays with a spot for one more display, and here apparently unpopulated spot for the missing display. So it is parts they can modify and trim as they want, tune as they want for their needs, because probably very specific equipment and orders each time. I can see apparently bodges and modifications. Looks like IC was removed here and here. Quite a nasty solder job, by the way, all handmade for sure. We have here 2 wafer switches. I do not see if it is silver or gold or anything. They do not look particularly impressive, by the way. The connectors here with nice East German logos. TGL with a brand, some quality logo in the middle and at the beginning, I believe, and the model number. More or less golden contacts. What do we have else? You can see the generic assembly with these interesting pieces. Metal bars, aluminum bars, and steel rails like this with holes, so they can do really what they want upon assembly. All manual labor for sure, but quite interesting how customizable it is. So about the ICs here, they are quite nice. So the resistors have nothing in particular in this module, they are boring East German resistors, but the ICs are so weird East German number, and they are actually ceramic ICs. I believe it is the first time I see East German ceramics. Quite nice. So here it is a double-sided board. So if I scrap the device, probably I will try to salvage as many parts as I can, in particular the ICs and the LED displays, of course. So it should not be too difficult to unsolder them with unsoldering braid and solder wick. I mean a solder pump, or maybe just hot air. I will see later when the time has come. So it was the first module. This one was quite easy actually. The module number, try to do them in order, excuse me, number 2. So here we have a similar setup with, this time, 2 circuit boards. And you can see actually the circuit board here is absolutely not connected to the other parts here of this unit. So it is doing apparently something else in the frame, but not connected to the parts here, which is super similar to the first module. Same amount of ICs and everything. Also unpopulated spot here for one more display. Okay, and here we have more of this unusual East German ceramics with another logo here. It is a very regular one, but I do not know the name of this company. It is some kind of a F letter and a comma in a circle. Okay, and look at what we have. Yes, regular red Soviet ceramic capacitors with apparently a dead code of 78. Okay, here for the multi-turn potentiometer, very nice, apparently East German multi-turn potentiometer. Yes, quite an unusual part. Then nothing else in particular here. You can see the standoffs with connector poking through the rear of the unit. And this edge connector is not impressive at all, just tinned. No gold here to be retrieved. Okay, more things. Here you can see we have what seems to be a manufacturer logo here in white and black, and some quality control stamps. On the boards themselves, some model numbers, and I do not know if they are serial numbers or something like this. This is me for reinstalling the modules in the correct order. Okay, we continue with number 3 is the same on this side, but on this side we have the same deal. So one PCB which is not connected to the display itself, but with more parts. So here a few more ICs, some interesting trimmers, potentiometers, but we will see them better on another board, and some metal can transistors. Apparently we have here a Soviet-made one. We have this one is semi-bronze, so it is polish, or maybe a few East German ones. And we have a 741 op-amp here from Singapore, from Texas Instruments. Interesting. One regular plastic East German IC here at the bottom, nothing special. And you can see quite a nasty solder job on this board. So it was heavily tinkered and modified, it seems, this unit one more time, sadly. The manufacturer logo here of the company. Okay, and here on this connector we have interesting information. AG, maybe it is to specify there is silver in the connector, probably. The one in the triangle is quality control or something like this, quality certification. TGL is the brand. Okay. What next? Module number 4 is actually very similar. One more PCB with this time Soviet-made round metal can op-amp. Apparently, you can see the Soviet company here, just in the middle of your screen. Some regular plastic foil capacitors, plastic ICs, annoying East German resistors, Elite here, electrolytics, again the same trimming potentiometers, and again some nasty solder job. Here and here, it is really not impressive, this thing, for the solder quality at least. We continue with, I guess we are done with the modules, so the circuit boards. So this one which was loose on the front panel here. More of the same kind, so the two little very old East German LEDs, more East German parts here, RFT brand, one other Texas Instrument op-amp, very regular potentiometer here, semi transistor with golden legs, and more East German ICs, as you can see. Excuse me. Ceramic here in the middle, but the other ones are plastic. Again, this quality control stamp, and here two Soviet-made ones. Okay. The two circuit boards that were beside this unit. We have here this one, and here at least we can have a better look at the trim pots, because you can see we have a value, we have an existing screw, and we have on the side here an indicator actually of the position of the trimmer, which is quite nice and not usual, because as you will see, if I turn it, it will turn this red arrow and indicate where it is. It's quite nice, because usually it is really missing on these multi-turn trimmers. You do not know what is your value. You have no way to know, and it is a good visual indication, at least to check if you are not min or max, and it could create problems. Interesting. Some very old school parts here. Look at this. Tubular ceramic capacitors, and also here this color code ceramic plates. Really old school, these things. And we have one more Soviet IC with heatsink and 78 dead code again. Okay, so at least we know when it was made. Some information here on the PCB. Null yes, whatever it is for. Okay, here some quite nasty PCB for configuration of a device, it seems. You can see all these jumpers that were handmade. So more ceramic ICs with weird East German numbers. And look at this one. It seems it is not even silk screen, it is stamp or something like this. Really weird. A bulge here with a transistor and a frolic electrolytic capacitor. And look at this, really. What a job. Apparently this wire is silver coated, at least. So it is where they will configure the device for to do what it needs to do, apparently. Wow, look at this. Almost all the legs of this IC are connected together. Really. It was worked a lot, this thing. I can see the solder flux everywhere. Here, for instance. So lots of modifications and adjustments and repairs, maybe. We continue with this board, which seems to be the countdown generator. We have two crystal oscillators and more of the same flavor of ICs. You can see some power bus here on the other side of the PCB, also apparently silver coated. Weird case diode, and yes, it is all. Wow, really not impressive, but usually East German stuff is not impressive. I have a few East German items which are really well made, but quite crappy work most of the time. And here we have the apparently power supply module, power regulation, something like this. Two Czechoslovakian made Tesla power transistors, nothing to do with Tesla cars, and it is interesting, more Tesla capacitors in here, one more round IC of Tesla brand, and a few other generic parts. Big diodes for bridge rectifier, and phenolic board here, really low cost board, nothing fancy. Okay, so it is all for the modules. I will put this aside, and now we will have a look at the rack by itself. So we have 8 screws securing the internal part of the rack to the case. I do not know if it is a regular rack size, this thing. Maybe I can check out quickly. We will find out. It is 52 something centimeters wide. So do the conversion and we will see if it is 19 inch or not. I do not think so, not sure. Probably no, because we were in a metric communist country. So actually one screw is missing on the top here. I did remove it because it was not the screw missing, but the captive nut behind did come loose inside the device. And I was not able to reinsert the screw properly, so I did not reinstall it. So when everything is loose, now I should be able to pull gently the content out of the frame. And actually, it is truly the easiest part, maybe because of the transformer and big heatsink also. So it is supposed to come, as you can see, but not that easy. Here we are. It is catching and okay. So I will put this aside. We will have a look first to the case itself. So the case has nothing in particular except a few where I am stickers at the bottom, dust, top and bottom. Well, all the panels actually are made of aluminium, steel rails to make the structure, and the handles assembled on the side with in die cast aluminium apparently, and it is all. You can see the arrangement here of the captive screws, which are normally secured by a little metal piece, but this one was loose. The other ones are still in place, and it is all nice aluminium framing here, quite pretty. Random loose washer, some rusty screws, and it is all for the frame. So at least if I scrap the device, I will get 2 very nice aluminium plates that can be reused for something. Okay, here we are. I will put the camera overhead again and we will have a look at the rack assembly construction. So about this super heavy rack thing, what do we have? You have actually dust. You can see the boxes they did made in to accommodate the back of the unit. here interesting some kind of wire management comb, but actually not used almost on this side. A few random electrolytic capacitors at the back, and here you can see all the connectors for the modules, some on the internal wiring, a little bit of it. So we have different kind of connectors. I see 3 different models. There is a regular card edge, and there is this 2 different kind of pin connectors. More capacitors here, and the guide pieces here in plastic which are clipped into the frame for the modules. Here the captive nuts are actually just inserted like this. We have at the second side here the mains input where I did connect my mains cable, a fuse holder, a little PCB which we can see on this side for more power supply management. There is actually on here 2 capacitors, 1 or 2 diodes, 1 trimmer, and it is all 1 2N 3055 power transistor from Siemens, I believe. Excuse me for the jackhammer noise outside, by the way. Here some typically East German power diodes. I have actually somewhere a whole bunch of those diodes, which are new old stock, and here a big transformer responsible for most of the weight of the unit, with an interesting manufacturer plate, but I guess it will not be possible to show you it without taking apart everything, which I do not want to do right now. But we have a specification plate here on the side, and I did notice, interestingly enough, one more time here, a wire management comb. So this I may actually retrieve if I scrap the device. We have a broken rivet here, by the way. And you can see the very serious metal frame construction here, steel frame. So this is strong. And you can notice they did use here at the back some super regular electricians connectors. Interesting for the transformer apparently. Quite weird. And here they did even trim the insulation around the screws because they had to insert a screw with a loose washer. Quite how you doing this thing? This is almost quite loose also, by the way. Not impressive at all. And the little nuts for the front parts can fall quite easily actually. They are not really well secured in place, these things, you can see. So really not impressed with the overall quality of the device. It is why I will not keep it, I believe. Just salvage the interesting parts, in particular, of course, the nice LED displays. Okay, I believe it will be all for this thing. One more thing, I did notice apparently the front captive screws here, this part is in 2 parts, and it should be possible to unscrew it, I believe, from here apparently, and take it apart. I believe if I insert a big screwdriver here, it will unscrew and it will come apart. And we'll see, but at least some nice regular hardware to salvage, always useful. even if I have 30 kilos worth of screws stock. Okay, okay. So it was the Messplatz 1066 from it is Labor for Electrophysics in Dresden, DDR. Okay, I was super curious about this unit. Now I know. It's German electronics, most of the time not really great. Nice components, but not always a beautiful construction. It is why I do not have a lot of it in my collection, by the way. Interesting. So, thanks for watching. Bye bye.